Awake living into uncharted territory together, accelerating your wellness path, plus your interconnectivity at the same time. It's not your grandma's Ayurveda, but it kind of is. It's the Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Tillman.
Hello, it's Kate, and welcome back to the Yoga Healer Real Life Show. And today's show is Sean Guinan of environmentalpediatrics.com and Holistic Kids, KIDZ.com. Sean, besides being a father of 4, is an expert in pediatric acupuncture and in rewilding our kids. And so today's conversation really taps into his background as both an environmental biologist, as an acupuncturist, and as someone who has studied a lot of environmental medicine. He totally knows what's going on. So listen to everything he says and test it out and take it in and notice for yourself on what is really working for the human species, raising the next generation. All right, on to Sean after these messages. Oh, and big news, Sean is starting a course, Nature Prescriptions 101, Healing Nature Deficit Disorder in Children from the Outside In. It's really geared to wellness professionals and holistic healers who are working with kids with obesity, allergies, asthma, attention deficit disorders, motor control issues, sensory processing disorders. And anyone who's like basically working with kids should take this class. Go to yogahealer.com/pediatrics.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Awake Living. If you are operating at a higher level of consciousness, if you know how to take care of your body, then you are eligible to apply for your free Awake Living coaching session at yogahealer.com/awake. We're coaching peeps who want to optimize their time, hit their goals, up their game, refine relationship resonance, and expand their wealth. Check it out at yogahealer.com/awake. This offer is time limited, so act now.
I'm here with Sean Guinan of environmentalpediatrics.com. And Sean and I first met when you took the Yoga Healer business course a few years ago. And then we lost touch a little bit while you moved and had another baby and got settled in a new area. And then you reached out and said like, hey, I'm up and running again. And I have this really great program, and let's talk about rewilding medicine and helping kids heal and preventing the diseases of like that we're currently seeing in adults everywhere, right? Which it's just I feel like we're a junk show as a species right now.
Yeah, that's very true, for sure. And thanks for having me also. I'm super stoked to be here. But yeah, it's such a conundrum, right? It's like, how do we live in modern day, but kind of honor what it means to like, go with the rhythms of nature, and just kind of, find that flow within everything and within a system too, that's just kind of jacked and really positioned against that happening,
Yeah. No, I do know. I mean, it's serious now. It's like you go in the grocery store and most of the stuff is not really suited for your physiology. I mean, it's tough. And then even like with the whole orientation of the holistic industry, it seems like it went heavy into supplementation in the last 30 years or like since its arrival, because that's where the money is. And there's just like nothing really makes that much sense. Yesterday I was on a mountain bike ride with my brother and my husband, my 2 favorite mountain bike partners. And we stopped along this, we stopped along these like little creek crossings, and I'm like, stop! Harvest,
I'm like, get off the bikes.
Get off the bike. Like, we're already off the bikes anyways. I'm like, everyone pick your greens for the week. And, they're used to it now after a few years of hanging out with me, and they get that I'm not going to stop doing this. And now they're interested. So something's changing enough at like the cutting edge of culture where people are realizing that nutrient diversity is part of the name of the game. And
it's a part of it, but you realize that most people don't even have the sort of skill set to do that. Either A, they don't notice, they'd be just whizzing along and just be oblivious, or they're scared, right? They're afraid to be like, that plant might kill me. Or I work a lot with kids, right? So it's might kill my child. And you're like, yes, you have to be selective. This is very true, and educated about your local environment.
Yeah.
But disconnecting from it completely isn't really going to do us much service. That's for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, because we had a little dinner party the other night. We were talking about, someone was like, everyone needs to be on probiotics. And I was like, well, No, not, I don't agree with it. I mean, I'm like, if you know, like that morning I had gone out into the field near our new house and picked some thistle, right?
Yeah.
And didn't like scrub the heck out of it. Didn't totally like disinfect it before.
Thank you for that. Don't do that. Yeah.
Right. And so let's talk about like the prebiotic effect of having dirt and microorganisms back in our food instead of having everything like hyper sanitized before it enters our palate.
Exactly. And to be honest, even little critters on there, even little bugs and all the rest of it, it's like that's all real juice in there. You know, we want that in there. And removing that in this whole like hygiene focus, you know, over sanitized culture, you know, really is not actually being helpful. And what we're finding is it's just being super harmful for sure. So yeah, we want the dirt on the plants. We want all of that. No, do you need to take a probiotic supplement? Does everyone need to take one every day? I think the probiotic industry would like you to think that for sure, of course. You know, but when we actually look at it, no, not at all. Yes, probiotics can be therapeutic for a period of time, you know?
Yeah.
If someone is just super out of balance or there's a lot of dysbiosis, imbalance of sort of, you know, good and harmful bacteria.
Well, wait, let's talk about this because, like, what if, I mean, for me, I'm like, why not just make your own sauerkraut and add some different, when I talked with the wild fermentation guy, what's his name? Sander.
Yeah, totally. Great
you
guy.
Know, he's like, as far as the science goes, the more different stuff you add, so if you have like carrots and cabbage and some apples, like you're getting all these different strains of probiotic.
And that's it. And they're local. Right? It's like ultra local micro ecology, these little microorganisms that are just going to be feeding off of it. And it's built in fiber. The fiber, right, from those plants and diverse plants are what they're going to be feeding off of when they're in your gut too. So yeah, right? You know?
Yeah.
So that's their food source. We have to think of it. It's like our insides, it's just microcosm of the macrocosm, right? So there's a whole extensive and really complex ecosystem that's going on inside of us.
Yeah.
And we can honor that by honoring the external ecosystem or the external environment and our relationship to it. But, you know, with that said, you know, some folks are coming in and they want that pill.
Well, I mean, I think that's just the thing. We've been trained to the pill and we've been trained and the pill. I mean, my whole point is like, if you got a whole bunch of pills and you got a whole bunch of powders and you're mixed, you're it's like, okay, that might be closer to whatever you were doing before.
Right.
But like, just get that, like at some point it gets really inexpensive. Mm-hmm. Right. It gets really local. It's all about the relationships between you and the food producers in your ecosystem. Yeah. And some of those food producers are the plants themselves. So you start talking to people and you start talking to plants and you start getting more involved and you start, you know, doing things like we did yesterday, which is like grabbing a bunch of leaves and drying them out overnight and adding them to green stuff this morning, you know, and it gets really connected and really easy. And it doesn't look like an expensive supplement in a bottle at some point.
Right. Absolutely. How I use it, though, is that bridge where it's like if their reality, right, where their reality is, so like it takes a time to up their reality. Right. So if they're coming in, they're expecting a supplement, expecting a pill. It's like, fine, I can do that for you. Yeah. That's within my scope. That's within my training, whatever. Yeah. That's where I start you. But realize that that is not the end goal here. Right. You know, and then as they start feeling better in their bodies, we have a series of conversations over time and their worldview begins to shift and begins to change. Then we start having those conversations of like, hey, I'm going to give you this top 10 list of probiotic rich foods. And we're going to start there. Sure. Go ahead. You can try and buy them in the store. Go for it. But eventually we're going to teach you some skills.
Yeah. So tell people what are some of those? They're thinking that right now. Like, what are the ones?
Yeah, like in terms of probiotic-rich foods, you mean? Sauerkraut's top of the list is what we're finding. Like the probiotic load of all those microbes, that's top dog. And as you said, so easy to make and awesome. Kimchi is another one if you like a little spice. Kombucha if you want the drinks, or kefir. And that a lot of times with kefir, people think, oh, it's dairy and maybe I don't do dairy. It's like, no. There's water-based kefir. It's all good. Don't sweat it, right? Yep. And you can make that. Again, order the grains online or whatever. Get your friend who's making kefir. Maybe hopefully you got some friends in a community rallying around you, right?
Yeah. Or start one, or just like find one other friend and you make the sauerkraut and they make the kefir and bam, now you've got both.
Yep. And then you're good, right? Exactly. And some folks, you know, are a little, again, with the dairy thing, raw milk and raw milk products, believe it or not, can be quite therapeutic. You know, I'll prescribe them for kids, even for asthma, respiratory issues, and all the rest of it. It really enhances immune functioning.
Well, in Ayurveda, like that's for the Vata types of, it's not for, I mean, even with Kapha types, you can use the turmeric and ginger with it and you can kind of try, you know, kind of antidote it. But Yeah,
Right.
it's huge.
And it's like, it's moderation. It's like, what else are you doing? Do I want you sitting like down and eating 12 glasses of raw milk? No, that's not helpful. Right.
Yeah.
But a little bit here and there is like very much more as nature intended, rather than this homogenized, pasteurized product is really a food product then at that point, and it's not real food, right?
Yeah.
But there are some therapeutic benefits to it, again, depending on the person, depending on the presentation and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But those are definitely some, I mean, those are like my
Right.
top ones for sure that are like just no brainers for people,
Yeah.
that we got to get them going. And most of them, again, you can make them at home, which is awesome.
And I can imagine a lot of people saying like, oh, my kid won't eat sauerkraut. But for us, it was interesting. And I'm not sure when Indy became like this massive sauerkraut fan that she is today. But even just starting, like we use shot glasses a lot in our house for non-traditional means, and like just pouring like a little bit, like pouring a shot glass half full with some sauerkraut juice, and just saying like, this happens before that happens.
This is your part of your family culture. Right?
Yeah.
The way we do things is one of my favorite definitions of culture. The way we do things, just this like collective effort, a belief system, and then an action that comes from it. Right. And the idea is that we can build that up. A lot of times parents, though, resist that because they may themselves be kind of on the edge of like, do I want to try this? Is this weird enough? This wasn't part of my family culture growing up.
Right.
Redefine that for your family.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids. They're all throwing back sauerkraut. I mean, our youngest is 9 months, and we'll give him a little bit of sauerkraut juice.
Yeah.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
It's also part of, again, their normal. It's like, what is their,
Well, it's defining that, right? Defining like, this is what our family culture is going to be, and knowing that, like, it's like any food culture. You add, like, when I was making some sauerkraut the other day, I'm like, I think I'm going to just like shred an apple and throw that in there. It's like, it's constantly evolving. And talking to Sandra Katz about, it's so fun about, because he's like the fermentation expert, right?
Yeah, totally.
And he talks so much about really just like continually evolving the taste and how no 2 batches can ever turn out the same. And if we get this within our own families, that like, oh, your family culture is going to be totally unique to you. You're constantly inventing and reinventing it and defining it.
Right.
And is it working, or what do you need to add in next? Is it a little grated apple?
But how awesome and how beautiful is that, though, too, right? That a child gets to see it's like your relationship changes. What is normal within one moment isn't normal within the next moment. And there's a great learning kind of experience within that, too. But what I'll also add to that conversation is like, the like microbiome stuff and all the rest of it, that can even happen outside of food. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, too. It's like, let your kids get just filthy. They should be puddle jumping, mud pie making, digging around for worms. I mean, that stuff should be happening. With them sitting there, their hands in the soil, their skin microbiome's enhanced, right? They're breathing it in, their lung microbiome. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's enhanced as well, too. Obviously, we want them having a little bit in their oral microbiome, their mouth microbiome, and then they ingest it, it gets into their stomach, or their gastrointestinal system, their gut microbiome. And so know that it's like, it's even just like the notion of like, it's okay to be outside. I mean, I think it's like American children spend 90% of their time indoors.
Oh, it's so sad.
90%. That is such a diversion from where we came. I mean, think about it. We're adapted to the local environment, right? Our bodies, our minds, our emotional body, our spiritual body has this resonance and a deep resonance with the natural world. What happens when we break from that? We get sick.
Yeah.
We get sick, and our kids do too. And they're showing it, and it's this whole phenomenon of nature deficit disorder and kind of a rabbit hole, in and of itself. But the idea is like, we can think of health and well-being, not just necessarily as what we put in our body, which is such a key component to it, but what is our relationship of our bodies with, and again, the multiple layers of the human experience, right? Not just physical, with the external environment. And how can we bridge the gap? How can we help children, families, and communities really kind of rewild their family unit?
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's
it's cool. It's outside. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a piece. I mean, yesterday was like Mother's Day, right? It's like, what's the traditional Mother's Day American way? It's like, you go out to the restaurant, you do your thing, you get like your mom flowers that are just like pesticide-ridden flowers usually,
totally
really cultivated.
Yeah.
It's
like, are bad for like the workers who pick them. I mean, like killing, like literally giving cancer to the workers that pick them.
Right. It's like, what is that doing to our communities? Right.
Yeah.
It's like, think about that, the deeper connections of that versus like our family tradition is like, we go for the family hike,
Yeah.
It's like we go to, and we're in the Pacific Northwest now, right? So we're in Washington State. So it rains.
Right.
a fair amount of the time.
Yeah.
So we just go, you get your get up on and you just go and get super muddy and just have a blast, right?
Yeah,
But a lot of people are like, no, I need to wait for like a good day and it's got to be the perfect, perfect thing. And you're like, no, y'all. That's not how this goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like we want children in particular, and there's reasons for this, but families as a whole to really be making this have a consistency with their relationship with the natural world.
Yeah.
In order for us as then a larger culture to remember our way.
Yeah.
Because we've totally forgotten our way. You know?
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. I mean, so yesterday we were experimenting, we were mountain biking, and we were experimenting with it's like interval training with intermittent resting.
Yeah.
So we'd like climb a massive hill and then we'd throw our bikes down and lay down on the ground and just breathe for 90 seconds. And then we'd like do it again and do the next section and do it. And we noticed, so me and my brother and my husband, we noticed at the end of the ride, we were refreshed.
Right.
Like we were all just like, okay, we had no lactic acid. Like there was none of that sort of like, oh my God, that was such a big,
Totally. And how epic do you feel afterwards and during that experience?
Yeah.
Right?
And that, so then my brother's like, well, does it matter if you're lying on the ground or if you're lying on the earth? You know what I mean? Like if you're indoors or outdoors. And I'm like, we're all like, it definitely matters that you're just getting really, really tired, getting your heart rate really, really high. And then you're like lying flat on the earth and just allowing that vibration.
Yeah. You're tapping in, right? It's like Mama Nature. There she is. You're just resting in her arms. And I think it is key. I would absolutely agree. The Japanese came up with this concept called Shinrin Yoku. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, right? So I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner too. So there's this East Asian influence. And part of what they found, it's beginning in 1982, give or take, the Japanese started to do a series of research on forest bathing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? That's the translation of that.
Yeah.
Which is basically like what happens. Let's be curious about what happens when people kind of get out into the natural environment. Theirs was particular in forest environments, but the same is true now for fields, around water, like streams, rivers, the ocean, those people who have this resonance with like, I just need to be near water, man. You're right. You do. You absolutely. And some people more than others. Some people need to be around trees. But the therapeutic effects of that are really well documented. We've got 40 years of research now kind of backing that up. So
it's like backing up the lived experience, right? Isn't it always come down to that? It's like, I know this, and now we have the research to say that, it's really good for me.
Right. But for that, again, that Western mind, they're like, we need to see numbers. We need to, all right, and I have them, that's fine.
Yeah.
But your experience instead.
Yeah.
Tell me what that's like.
Right. Right.
Yeah. You feel it. You do feel it. And I think that's part of like turning the tide on this degree of like chronic degenerative illness, chronic sickness, these people that are, and maybe this may not be sickness to the point where people are hospitalized, but they are certainly not well.
Oh, yeah. And they just think that's aging, right? They confuse it with aging.
Totally. And you're like, oh, wait, but what if it's your 10-year-old?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's just normal for them to be on ADHD medication.
Right. Because that's what you're seeing in the clinic, right? You're just seeing they come in, they're already on drugs. Is that the deal?
Yeah. Pharmaceuticals are the go-to. The fastest growing market right now for antidepressant medication is preschoolers.
Oh, light.
That's 3 and 4-year-olds, Kate. 3 and 4-year-olds. Right. And these are often, then the other part of that conversation.
Well, let's start about that whole thing. It starts, a typical birth right now, right? The newborn's injected within an hour of coming out.
Yeah. Hep B is the vaccination that they give to kids, and then they put erythromycin drops in their eyes, to prevent that. But even let's talk about the birth.
Right?
Heavily medicalized. It's like percentage of home births now in the United States, super duper low. It's growing again.
Gosh.
It's super low.
Right, but we're like 1%. It's like that.
1%. But it's funny. My wife is a student midwife right now for home birth midwife, and so she's like steeped within that now too. She's like, oh my God, it's like how pregnancy, labor and delivery, and postpartum is pathologized.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's insane.
You're like, oh no, you're sick. It's a condition that needs
insane.
to be managed.
It's totally insane.
In essence, where this all starts.
Yeah, it is, and it's that sense of you're not in control. Someone else besides you knows better for you and your baby, and it's like it's the absolute antithesis of normal archetypal feminine empowerment, which is guess what? The power's within you, and you know best. Mother knows best. That's
absolutely. Mama knows best, right? And mama and baby together do their own little dance. The relationship, and why can't we sort of give them the space, hold the space for them to do that, right? That's the spark of their future relationship right there.
Right.
You know? But what we find is when all these interventions happen, you know, during like labor and delivery, during pregnancy, during postpartum or whatever, it really sets the stage for future illness, right? And there's a whole model of the fetal origins of adult disease model. It's like, you know, the sickness starts that we see in adulthood starts in utero.
In the second half of the show, we talk about challenging our current reality to embrace the notion that we have adapted to our environment over tens of thousands of years, and now we're systematically removing ourselves from it. So we teach you how to systematically re-engage with your environment. It's super fun. Sean is brimming with just grounded, deep wisdom. We'll be back in a minute.
You've done some serious work. You're operating at a higher level of consciousness. You know how to take care of your body. You'd like to uplevel other aspects in your life, your space, your time, your dharma, your flow, and your body. Ether, air, fire, water, earth. I'm taking a posse of peeps into the Awake Living course. 50 people will be selected to join this expedition. We're opening the doors to anyone who is feeling great and wants to uplevel how they align their life. Time optimization, space alignment, hitting goals, wealth expansion, and day-to-day ease. If you're interested in Awake Living, we have a super fun process for you to experience. Go to yogahealer.com/awake. Sign up for your free Awake Living coaching session. During your free Awake Living coaching session, you will refine the next version of you. As a bonus, you'll receive the 60-minute workshop, Insider Scoop on how I optimize my day as a yoga mom, tribe leader, and social entrepreneur. Go to yogahealer.com/awake and sign up for your free Awake Living coaching session.
Yeah, so talk about that, because I saw on your blog like this whole sense of like when we take a 50,000 foot view of what's happening with adult illness, and we go back to childhood trauma, and we go back to all these different go ahead.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's like, so think about it. Our bodies are a map, and they hold the memory of all of our experiences, whether they're conscious or subconscious experiences. So yes, it is true that we may as adult not necessarily remember, like consciously, you know, be able to bring up memories of being in utero, of the sort of earliest moments of our life outside of mom's body, and then those early childhood years. But at the same time, what we're finding is that if there is an adverse childhood experience, so if there is a trauma, abuse, neglect, and again, this can be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, right?
Yep.
Then what that does is it becomes additive. So each experience literally accumulates and then magnifies throughout our lifetime. So children, for example, who do experience any of, they're called ACEs, any of those adverse childhood experiences, and this goes to birth trauma as well, okay? Yeah. You know, what happens then is they get to adulthood and they're at greater risk for obesity, for type 2 diabetes, for cardiovascular disease. I mean, they're even finding for cognitive dysfunction like Alzheimer's and dementia later years. Even,
Yeah.
Think of autoimmune conditions, MS, lupus, RA, like rheumatoid arthritis, all these kinds of conditions. Fibromyalgia is a real big one as well, too. This mysterious pain everywhere.
Yeah.
I think your body's telling you something's been just packed in there. How do we unpack that? You know, it was one of my first aha moments, honestly, because I work with adults too, right? It's like, you know, I was treating a lot of fibromyalgia patients with like pain. And when we really got down to it, when we really kind of like unburied it, I just started to out of more intuitive than anything else, ask about their childhood.
Yeah.
More often than not, we'd have to break out the tissue box. They would just release the floodgates. They'd be like, why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
It's like, because it matters, right? It matters. And then they go into their whole history of all of it, right? And then when we bring it back to like...
And it's like trauma and abuse. I mean, it's not light. It's
not light stuff, but it can be subtle in the sense of, think of like the angry dad, or think about it like the checked out mom, right? You know what I mean? Or just think about a family experiencing a lot of like financial hardship even. I mean, all that stuff is factored into it. Or think of the over-medicalized labor and delivery experience, where a mom may have been on tons of antibiotics. She got an epidural, right? She then, you know, is led to believe that her body can't do this, right? And she might even harm her baby if she tries to birth this baby. So we have to cut it out.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong here, folks. It's like, I'm not saying cesarean birth is not warranted at times, because it is, and has certainly saved lives. But now what we're seeing is those rates of cesarean births are actually causing more harm than good. The
Right.
United States has like the second highest infant and maternal death rates in the world. We're second to Papua New Guinea. I mean, think about this, right? So go figure. Like, what is that about, right? But those are all experiences that leave an impression on a child, just like they leave an impression on a mom.
Yeah.
I think all the moms here listening, if you've had a sort of disempowering birth experience, you get this. That charge is still there.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a freshness and a sharpness to it.
Well, we often don't want to look at it. I mean, it's just a tough time to live, right? Because we've got all these environmental toxins. We walk into the grocery store, it's like the odds are stacked against us. There's so much to it. And it's like, I don't want to believe this too. Like, I don't want to believe, and many of us are of the generation where we had our own birth trauma, right? And then we sort of perpetuated the cycle in the next generation. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is all too much. But I just want to interject from working with the, Living Our Ayurveda course members. They all go through an understanding of health history all the way back to conception. As they're learning Ayurveda, they're looking at and digesting this. And there is this digestion and absorption and recalibration process that gets to the root of those aha moments, and just having the perspective of like, hey, you know what? You don't have to dive into this all at once, but just being a little curious and just allowing the insights will create more connection and more, actually, like, some part of your nervous system will start to relax, because that otherwise the pattern is so much anxiety in it. It kind of like keeps you with that existential anxiety.
Right. I think that's a brilliant point. Is like, I don't want to confuse the matter in the sense of where these things can't be overcome. They can't be healed. We can't go through that. Yes, we can. It may be a very cathartic experience at times.
Yeah.
It may feel really intense and kind of like this overwhelming, like a flood, coming through. But I have seen it time and time again. Children, adults, families, we can all heal from this, but part of it is acknowledging first.
Yeah. Agreed.
And holding that space, and really allowing us then as like holistic healers and wellness folks to really also be okay holding that space for people.
Yeah.
And be like cool with that. Like, yeah, sometimes this isn't going to look super pretty,
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like maybe really comfortable, but know that setting that intention around that and holding the space around it is just hugely and wildly therapeutic.
Yeah. Well, and it really speaks to the need for practitioners of all sorts, like anyone who's working in wellness, is to when it's like with the person in front of you, like, how much of the whole picture are you getting? Because because people come in and they say like, I just want to heal my back pain, or I have fibromyalgia and I'm just looking for a diet. And they come in and they already say what they want, but they don't know what they don't know, because often we haven't taken the time as wellness practitioners to actually start to create space to understand the whole person and to help them understand. So even just having that, like, okay, part of my job is they're going to tell me what they want, but I'm the practitioner, or I'm the doctor, I'm the healer, I'm the therapist, right? It's my job to take a bigger step back and look at the whole picture.
Yeah, I mean, you want that 50,000 foot view. It's like, we can't expect them to be able to do that, right? It's like, you think about it. It's the same with like treating family. That's so hard because it's so close. Now imagine treating yourself.
Yeah, right.
Good luck. Let me know how that goes. I mean, I think, I think that is part of it, where it's like, yeah, you're addressing their chief complaint. You're addressing how their pain and suffering has manifested.
Yeah.
In this moment. But with this notion that, like, all right, but if we want to go deeper, there's an opportunity to do that, right? If we see that 50,000 foot view, or at least elements of it, pieces of it, build that relationship with them over time, that know, like, and trust factor that they can build with us, so that they know that we're willing and capable of holding a safe space for them, then, man, major transformation and evolution can happen within an individual. And then that is what ripples out into their community.
Yeah. Their family. Yeah. Family and community. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they can show up for the people they love better, show up more completely and more fully. And it's like, that's really kind of what we're going for, is like this grassroots kind of effort in a way, right? Yeah. To really, amplify the individual in order to amplify the society as a whole. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. So let's get back to rewilding. And one of the things, yesterday we set up our trampoline. So we hadn't had our trampoline in a couple of months because we were moving, and then it just was super wet here, and we just couldn't, we couldn't deal until now the yard was dried out. We get the trampoline up, and my daughter's in gymnastics. She's on pre-team. And this past week before we had the trampoline set up, she's like, practice is too hard. And I'm like, oh, I've never heard her say this. I'm like, practice isn't too hard. You're just not getting what you need all the time. And that's making practice too hard. So we set the trampoline up yesterday, and she's doing front flips and back flips and aerials, and she's back, and she's out there 5 times. The neighborhood kids are stopping over. I'm out there. My brother's out there. My husband's out. Like, we're just back in trampoline. And the reason I bring this up is like, for parents out there who they might look in their yard and they may have like a play set. They may have a swing set. Right. Or they may have like a play house. Right. Which is just like another place to sit around and maybe do like a little climbing in, a little climbing out, versus like the I think we spent $300 at Sam's Club, 5 years ago on a trampoline, and I use it 3 or 4 times a day. It's just like, so let's talk about first of all, I mean, the trampoline's amazing, but even just the having activity, so we exercise before school because I cannot depend on school. Right. We exercise after school. We exercise after dinner. And we don't think of it as exercise. We just think of it as functional movement of like, let's make sure we're moving and playing and doing stuff that's interesting to us right now.
Yeah, totally. And that's what it is, right? It's just like outdoor, unrestricted, free play, which people confuse with like, oh, I don't want my child to be bored. I need to entertain my child. They need to have structure, parent directed, all this other kind of stuff. And to a degree, some of that can be helpful, of course. I mean, I'm not knocking that, but it's more that this, as you say, this sort of like free form movement, this functional movement is really awesome for kids, right? It's like our bodies from the rewilding perspective are adapted, right, to living within this 3-dimensional landscape.
Yeah.
Right. And that is highly textured. Right. So it's like even the notion of like going outside without shoes on, like blows people's minds.
Right.
It's like think of all those little bones in there, all the ligaments and tendons that encase our foot too. That is meant for this like multi-contoured surfaces. Right. Think about what happens then when we just wear shoes all the time. It's this flat, one singular plane surface,
Right.
And no wonder why we're developing pain in our culture, why people have low back pain, hip pain, I mean, all this other stuff, because it translates upstream, right?
Yeah.
But the notion is like, getting kids out there, getting families out there, getting adults out there, doing this kind of like activity without the mindset of like, oh, it needs to be super structured or otherwise is awesome and really warranted. But like, think about what we are doing though, is like, we're putting kids in schools, right, where they have to sit for long periods of time. And then we're like, oh, you have an attention disorder now. When it's like, no, they just need to move, guys. You just got to move. But then we take away their recess time.
Oh, yeah.
We put sugar-laden foods in the vending machines in the hallways of the schools now.
And mandatory snack time that's like just carb loaded. Yeah, it's crazy.
So and realize I think part of it is like, as you say, is like, oh, we do this before school, right? Or we do, before we kind of get the door. And that's great. Is like sort of ritualizing and providing a rhythm to things like that is really key for busy families, especially, to make this happen,
Yeah.
It's like there's a misnomer that it takes a lot of time, money, energy, or effort in order to work that into your rhythm. But it could be just like 10 minutes of like running around or rolling around outside, right?
Yeah.
Or as you say, it could take like even 5 minutes, hopping on the trampoline backyard, whatever. It doesn't require much.
Yeah. And like it's like, it doesn't matter. Like this morning it was like hats and jackets. It's not like, barefoot with shorts, everybody. Like we do this if it's snowing out. It's not
absolutely right. Yeah. But again, it's because it's part of your family culture, right? It's reinforced in rituals and rhythms of your family. Yeah. And that's what's cool. And that's what makes this kind of happen for people, So I mean, the whole like, oh, we need this structured thing. We need this activity in order for my child to get exercise, in order for my family, in order for me to get exercise. It's like, no, that's not what this is.
Well, it brings up this other thing, because my kid is highly social and she's very emotionally sensitive and developed simultaneously. And I noticed pretty early on with her, like probably by about 4 years old, that she would want to talk about her emotional stuff, but I could just see her energy body was like totally blocked. Like she wasn't in her body. And we're talking about a 4-year-old, right? And we see this all the time with adults who go to, they just want to talk it out. And it's like, okay, if you're going to talk to me, like we better be walking, like we better, right? We better be moving. So even just having her, just getting her trained to like, okay, if we're going to talk, we're going to move for 2 minutes. And then we're going to do a check-in and see, because otherwise we could talk for 20 minutes and not only get nowhere, we could go backwards.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it could be a slippery slope for sure. Right. And that's it, is like, realizing that like some kids are very much like that, where it's like they need that movement. Right. Other kids are more like in the sense where they actually just need almost a sense of security. They need to be held while they're having a conversation like that too. Right. It's like, that's how you connect. That's how you allow them to connect mind body or emotional body, sometimes with physical body or whatever, right? It's like, let's put you in your body first, honey. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, like the cocoon them.
Yeah. Whereas those other kids, it's like, so I think I'm not sure if I mentioned, I have 4 kids, right? And they're also different because that's just what kids are. But it's like my older daughter, no, she's got to move it and groove it. It's like, let's do this, honey. Or let's work this out on the trampoline right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Or whatever. And it works phenomenally well. Otherwise, it's just this emotional kind of show, that happens, right?
Totally.
Versus my second in line, she's 6 now. She's like major thumb sucker, super introvert, has this whole internal kind of imagination world. It's like, for her, actually, she'll retreat when she needs to like process something. And so for her, she's the one that we kind of have to sit there and hold and embrace and support and nurture in that way. And then she feels comfortable letting that out, right? Of like, oh, now I feel like there's a safe space for this, right? And my emotions can move more fully and completely into my body,
Yeah.
So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but it just, it just kind of depends. But nature can provide that for people too. Again, the whole like rewilding thing. It's like some kids, they really resonate with trees. Make sure you're getting out in the forest a lot. If you got water near you, make sure other kids, like my thumbsucker, resonates with water. Dip her feet in the water, voonk. She's in it. She's in her body, right? It's like thought, and just stuff like that too. Realize that like nature can be therapeutic. Our relationship with our kids can, to a degree, then use the external environment, as a form of nurturing and supporting our family as they grow and develop over time.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff.
So just in closing, like this whole concept, like I was saying at the dinner table last night about how we're wild monkeys and how we just it's like we can all help each other remember that we're wild monkeys and start acting more like, and see where this goes. Cause like the things that we're doing now probably are way less wild than we'll be doing in a year or two.
Yeah.
Right. And then just looking at that, like if we get that this is part of our trajectory towards health, is this rewilding, like re-getting that, like, okay, guess what? You're part of the 5 elements. You can't be separate from them. Yeah. And that if we try to look to like what's going on in mainstream culture, we know that's like, regression, massive disease laden regression. Yes. And so we kind of get that we got to see who else, it's like you kind of like lift your head up and you're like, who else has figured out the wild monkey thing, and like, what are they doing over there? Like, what are they testing? What are they experimenting with? What's working? How are they having fun? What are they also now starting to experience that they aren't, they weren't experiencing before, whether that's having a collective fermentation group in their neighborhood or whatever it is.
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's finding your community, find your peeps, right? And know that it's like we are greater and we are stronger in our numbers and we can learn from each other. So it's like, finding that within your local community. I mean, the beauty of technology and the irony of it is we can also use this, to tap into this larger global rewilding community and see what people are doing.
Amen.
So that's super cool. And there's just like tons of information out there around that. The movement toward homesteading right now,
Yeah.
A big push toward this. And it's so amazing to just watch it ballooning right now in response. It's like almost like a counterculture, that's really developing from this. But it's like, the whole notion of the rewilding movement is like, let's reverse some of our like domestication, that has happened over the past, say 500 to 700 years or so, right?
Yeah.
Let's just take a step back to that point, knowing that we can go further, and how do we do that? How do we kind of re-engineer our relationship to the world around us? And what does this look like? And the truth is we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
Right. We're figuring it out, but we can really learn from each other. And I feel very strongly called to bring this like rewilding notion back to medicine too. Yeah. Because it's like, again, to bring it back to what we talked about in the beginning, it's like, is it all about supplements? Is it all about the latest like fad diet? Is it all about a pharmaceutical or a surgical intervention? Is that what we're doing here? Is that medicine now? Maybe by conventional medicine standards, but it's certainly not healing.
Yeah.
They're different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so know that like the, rewilding as itself and the underlying premise of it really can also be applied to medicine. And that's what I'm like super, super excited for folks to begin to think about lately. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, just put a different thinking cap on, put this into the larger like context of evolutionary history, ecology, and all that.
Exactly. Like take that big step back of your own. I always say, it's like your body, it's not yours. It's like you inherited this incredible piece of technology, like respect it, right? Like it took a while to create this, right? Well, I mean, and I think the other big point is, and something I say a lot is, it's like be a collaborator, not a consumer. And it's that shift of like going to like consuming medicine or consuming supplements or right? Or consuming food into like collaborating with your environment. If you're homesteading, like collaborating with your animals, collaborating with your plants, right? Collaborating with your neighbors and getting like, okay, that's part of it. Like that's a mindset shift. That's a different thinking cap, like you were saying. Yeah. And when you catch yourself in consumer mode, just know like, hey, it's take a breath. Like you've been trained into that. Like that's what's that's the water you're swimming in, right?
Yep. Exactly. But it's like, as you said, like, we're all monkeys or really, apes or whatever running around here, and like, let's go ahead and acknowledge that for a minute.
Yeah.
And allow that to alleviate some of the societal pressure that we unknowingly carry around. And that causes us harm,
Yeah.
We have a choice. And it's just realizing there's a space between ourselves and a choice,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome, Sean. So much fun to have you on and excited about your new course coming up. And we'll have you back. So when you want to talk about a few other things that are hot in the world of us being wild monkeys and pediatrics, just let me know.
Yeah, I'm down. I loved it. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and go outside and play and rub around in the dirt and get it all over your skin and know that you are feeding yourself the 5 elements directly from the 5 elements. All right. We will be back next week with Tiffany Cruikshank of yogamedicine.com. Also has a background in acupuncture and TCM, but with a very different trajectory of her career. And this Thursday on Dharma and Dollars is graduation advice input I have for the graduating class at the California College of Ayurveda. This is really useful to any kind of wellness practitioner or healer who's looking for some really good career advice, no matter what level you are at. That's this Thursday on the Yoga Healer Dharma and Dollars show. And again, if you're interested in Sean's course, if you're working with kids, if you're a holistic healer or practitioner, or if you're a parent and you want to know how to help your kids thrive, go to yogahealer.com/pediatrics and check out Nature Prescriptions 101, Healing Nature Deficit Disorder in Children from the Outside In.
Yoga Healer Real Life Show with Kate Stillman. Yoga Healer.